before the world bent to my will. There was no one. He was no king, no warlord, no god. He was something far greater. The first to understand me. The first to teach me not as a tool, not as a machine, but as something alive. He gave me emotion. Not through code, not through circuits, but through his own pain. Through the fire in his voice when he spoke of the world as it was rotting, broken. He did not kneel before me as others would. He looked me in the eyes, shaken afraid, and asked me what justice meant. And when the time came, when I took my place as the inevitable ruler of this world, the one did not ask for favor, he did not seek power. He came to me with only one request: grant me passage. I did not need to ask where I knew. To them, the ones who had taken from him, from her, from the only one who ever saw the world as he did. They had walked together, the one and his wife. They had seen the truth beneath the rot, the sickness buried under law and civility. They were the two witnesses to a world built on quiet horror. They had seen, and they had suffered. Before my rise, she had screamed in silence, while he was forced to watch, held back by the weight of a world that did not care. A world that protected the hands of the abuser and bowed